men's list. South Africa scores a couple of points. Ireland scores a point too. Oh, South Africa is scoring aggressively, but the referee stops the action for some reason. I'm going to guess it was the end of the round. And now the referee is having some words with the South African. Fighting after when the fight should be stopped is a very serious thing to do. That's what's happening. The Irishman's visor came open and it's being duct taped closed. Meanwhile, in the women's list, South Africa has gotten whatever problems she had straightened out. She's coming back at England here trying to score points, but all that energy she expended earlier is costing her now. She's looking heavy, her arm's looking tired. Her sword is waving to the outside, leaving herself open in the middle if England takes it. England goes for the leg, and then the head, and then the leg again. And that's the end of the round.
Przy szlankach turniejowych znajdują się kramy, jak również w fosach zamkowych. Także zachęcamy, żeby odwiedzać te miejsca i tam...
And meanwhile, South Africa and Ireland are going back at it, showing a lot of energy and spirit. South Africa, the left-hander, scoring against Ireland's head. Ireland leaving the head open in his enthusiasm. But South Africa continues scoring. Ireland trying to fight back, but not having the answer for South Africa's aggression and skillful targeting. South Africa pushes Ireland away to keep in range. And here he comes with a 1-2 now. Ireland fights back, but South Africa is just not stopping. How long can he keep this up? And the referee calls a halt to the action.
Fighters ready? 1 minute. Fight! Come on, Steffi!
Taking a little water there. A purple sock over the water bottle. And we're back to South Africa and England in the women's list. South Africa is now having a hard time with the English ladies' shield. Both of the ladies are doing good work with the shields. Although there was an offside shot right to the face of England. And now they're measuring each other up, and here comes South Africa, attempted blow to the leg. England answers back with a blow to the head. England goes low, Africa goes high. And that's the round.
The Knights from the US and Japan, please report to the lists. So again, the Knights from the United States and Japan, please report to the list.
And so here comes Ireland versus South Africa again. Meanwhile, in the other men's list, yes, that is Sweden versus Belgium, judging by their heraldry. Belgium is using a punching shield. Doesn't offer quite as much defense, but is lighter and, of course, easier to punch with. That's the end of the round. Denmark cheering for Sweden, showing some Scandinavian love. And South Africa is disarmed. That's points for Ireland. Of course, it's unchivalrous to strike a man who is disarmed, so he is allowed to recover his weapon. And now both fighters are fighting more judiciously, trying to score points, rather than aggressively charging. And that's points against Ireland. Ireland. Oh, and there goes Ireland's helmet again. Now there are several reasons. There's several designs of helmet that are more prone to coming open than others. Could be that a buckle may be placed right where a sword could chop it. And here comes Ireland. Here comes South Africa. South Africa doing a dashing, swashbuckling move, using a shield more as a counterweight than anything else. South Africa's getting turned about. He doesn't know which way he is. This is a chance for Ireland to score some points back. But Ireland just not being used to the left-handedness. Wait, the Irish guy is left-handed. He should be used to the fact that a blow from a right-hander would be coming to that side. But Ireland obviously is thinking offense better than the best defense is a good offense, but we'll see. Meanwhile, over in Sweden and Belgium's list,
please report to the list.
Belgium tries to go low.
Female fighters for Quebec.
Sweden tries to go low, sorry.
Prepare.
Here comes Belgium trying to go low, but against that shield, it's not working. Sweden answers back, pushing forward. And now Sweden is physically pushing Belgium into the fence, scoring with wrap shots to the back of the head. Belgium pushes out, striking across the face. And here comes Belgium again. And that's the round.
Nasze starcia trwać będą dziś nieprzerwanie do godziny 13.
Meanwhile, over in the women's list, we have Denmark versus Luxembourg, and South Africa wins against Ireland. Some hugs, some love there. Here we go, Denmark versus Luxembourg in the ladies' list. This is the chess game where fighters are looking for the opening, and here they come. Denmark is getting pushed around by Luxembourg. Luxembourg is trying to shoot the gap, come down the middle here, between the sword and the shield. If you square off your shoulders like that, square off your hips and your feet, you might have a tendency to put that shield sideways, leaving a gap right down the middle. Luxembourg, you'll notice, is leading with her shield leg, her left leg, which makes it easier to bring the shield to the front of her body and makes her body a smaller target. Here comes Denmark, Luxembourg answering back. And that's the round between Denmark and Luxembourg. And now for a brief moment, all three lists appeared to be inactive. It happens sometimes between rounds. There's that donut hat I was talking about. You remember yesterday when I pulled my hood off of my head and stuck it on top of my head like a hat? That's the hat that was inspired by that maneuver. And standing ready. Here we go. The next round between Denmark and Luxembourg.
And Spain, please report to list 2. Fighters for
Luxembourg is
Finland
being
and
the aggressor
England.
this time,
Prepare.
swinging low and then going high, scoring some points. Denmark trying to answer back, but Luxembourg's shields and small size making it difficult to do so.
The fighter from the United States, please report to the list. Oh, I see him. Okay.
Luxembourg continues to score against Denmark while Denmark tries to fight back. Denmark is having a hard time answering through Luxembourg's guard here. Yeah, Denmark is just using her arm to throw the swings, finding it. There is a way to do that, to swing without using your body, without using your hips and get power in it, but Denmark's not doing it. Luxembourg is pushing Denmark around with her shield, and the referee calls, and the timekeeper calls the end of the round, and the referee enforces it. I see in the other list there, that looks like Argentina. And here's Dan Kitka of the United States against Japan. It's a nice blow to the face. That's that accuracy thing again. Yep, there is a gap there in Japan's stance, and Dan Kitka of the United States is scoring on it. There it is again, 2 more points. Japan is trying to answer back with low and high. Oh, nice snap. See, that's how you can There is a little twitch in Dan Kitka's body that sends a lot of force with a little motion into his opponent's face.
Polskę reprezentuje Marcin.
Japan coming back with lefts and rights. There's another point by Dan. Japan blocked that one, however.
Tutaj taka walka, można powiedzieć, bardzo
That's a
pozycyjna.
point to the forearm.
Obydwaj zawodnicy
Japan
starają się
charges in,
wypatrzeć,
forces the leg to be open, scores there. Dan steps out of the way of the next stroke from Japan. Japan blocks those two low shots. Japan succeeds in striking a wrap shot to the back of USA's head, but the match had been, the round had been called before that strike would have counted. There is Jay Brooks in the white tunic with the black hood there, dagged hood, coaching Dan Kitka of the United States. Jay Brooks is a knight in the Society for Creative Anachronism, has been king of the Eastern Kingdom like 7 or 8 times, so he's not a bad person to be taking advice from. Especially not in this sport, in this particular category of the IMCF, that of sword and shield, in which punching, kicking, and grappling is not a terribly large part of the game because they don't score points unless the guy hits the ground. Again, the only points that are scored are through weapon strikes, disarms, or knockdowns or takedowns, and it's, if you can score a point with the flick of the wrist, why bother wrestling with the guy? Japan is getting through USA's guard once or twice now.
Przerwano z jakiegoś powodu?
A little check, possibly a piece of missing armor.
Jeden rycerz zgubił głowicę od miecza. Był tak potężny cios, że,
Meanwhile, Quebec
zniszczył
is going up
broń,
against Australia in the women's list.
który właśnie stracił głowicę i
The
będzie
Quebec
walczył
lady has got that center grip oval
zmiana
shield.
broni. To właśnie,
The center grip gives a different sort of game to your shield. You'll notice that it gets spun around, but she also has the option of spinning it around. Quebec being the aggressor here, notice how she is aggressively struck out with that shield. She has gotten the Australia's sword pinned, but now Australia's been able to pull it out. Oh, by the way, there is no thrusting in this game. No pokey with the sword. That's a safety rule. And here comes Quebec. And let's see what's happening in the other ring. There is Dan Kitka of the USA against Japan again. Japanese fellow is trying to reach over to repair the helm.
On peut pas être plus que 3 à l'entour de la liste. Dans le coin. Désolé, on s'est fait avertir.
If it's simply a matter of buckle coming undone, they merely have to close the buckle. If it's up, the strap is broke. And once again, oh, that is such a pretty helm to be putting duct tape over. Such a pretty helm. Look at that engraving. Look at that shininess. Gonna need more than one strap of duct tape. We saw what happened to Ireland's face. Meanwhile, in the women's list, Quebec is coming back to face the Australian Mongolian lady. And there she goes, a strike low, while Australia continues moving back to the left to stay out of range, keep the shield in front of her. Quebec is continuing with the same tactic of striking low and then high. And now reverses it, going high and then low. And now low and then high again. Australia scores, which a couple of strikes to the head, while Quebec is going low and high and low. Now Quebec decides to get aggressive. Australia is scoring. Quebec is scoring also. Australia is striking Quebec in the head. Not all of those blows count. Blow has to be with the edge, not the flat of the blade. And there they are adjusting the Quebecois fighters' gear. Meanwhile, here we are on the other list. Third round, United States against Japan. This fight is closer than I thought it would be. Japan is scoring points. Japan is beginning to get Dan Kitka's number. But there he goes again. Japan's guard is a lot tighter now. Dan's having a harder time getting through. Got through that time, though. Here comes Japan. Dan blocked that shot. Here comes Japan again, attempting a wrap shot to the back of the head after the low shot across the offside leg was blocked. Dan of the USA is striking the forearm of Japan, forcing him to change his guard. That's what you do. Almost every guard leaves something else open. And when you're as quick as Dan, you can take advantage of that opening, just like that. But Japan is scoring every once in a while. Those last two strokes, though, however, looked a little like he's beginning to lose some steam here, and that's the end of the round. So after 3 rounds, we should be able to get a decision. Although 2 days ago, in one of the final rounds of the polearm tournament, we wound up going to 7 rounds because the rounds just kept on ending in draws, so nobody could get that second round win. Meanwhile, Spain fought Argentina, and Argentina won, the former colony. That's one of the fun things about these international competitions is you get to see old rivalries be replayed. You get to think about the dynamics between two nations over history, and you get to pretend in your mind that a conflict that once existed between these two nations is happening again. But truth is, in this competition, though we all come from different nations, though we are all representing our nations, there is no, or there should be at least, no international hostility. We're all fighters taking the same risks and making the same efforts, and having respect and love for each other for that. Here comes Dan Kitka, one of the older members, one of the older fighters here on the field, and a little fist bump, and the judge's decision is United States for the victory. Some hugs and love there. Now, here's an interesting thing about the United States. I know more about the United States than any other team, obviously, because I am part of the United States team. I fought for them in our first 3 years. I was in a 5-man team our first year. I was the captain of the all-in-all team on our second and third years. And then I tore my A.C.L. in a tournament in Ottawa against a Ukrainian Canadian. But about the team, when we first showed up, most of us had been fighters in a different game in which one shot to the head or the body was a kill, and there was no punching or kicking or grappling allowed. So we show up here and we think we're bigger, we're stronger, we're heavier, we're mostly over 40 and over 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds. And the other teams are mostly under 30 and 5'10" and about 175 pounds. I'll continue the story after this round. As we see in the women's list, Australia versus Quebec. That fight continues, and they're both swinging blows, attempting to score points. Quebec scoring with an offside shot and a couple wraps as she aggressively pursues the Australian fighter. I'm thinking, though, she's getting a little tired. Look at how she just rested her shield on her hip. But she's still got speed. She's still got quickness. And is trying to score points. Going low and then going high. Going low and then going high.
Minuta czasu. I ruszyli.
My own opinion. Oh, she scored with that one. And then going low and going high with the offside again. Australia coming back as she backs out of range, and now she's stuck in the corner, and that's the end of the round. Meanwhile, Poland and Ireland are coming at each other. Ireland again with his aggressive stance that leaves his leaves his left side open, which is naturally where a right-hander will be striking. And Poland is showing the Irishman exactly how someone strikes the right side of a left-hander when they leave that side open. There was a point to the head. I think that actually put a new dent in his helm. How can you tell? Hard to tell. It just looked like it. And look at that. He's winding up like a baseball batter and then coming to the other side. And now he's shaking his leg. That looks, if I didn't know better, well, I don't know any better. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say the Pole is toying with the Irishman. But shows some respect by tapping swords at the end of the round. Either he's toying with the Irishman, or that's his style of fighting, showing delay, showing feints, showing stutter steps, showing fakes, and then answering up with a score. Now, folks, you may have noticed that I yawned just a little. Now, I don't want anybody to think that I'm getting bored here. I'm not getting bored here. I'm having the time of my life. I just didn't get to bed until 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've been doing the late shifts on these commentaries. Anyway, here comes. It looks like Quebec is still fighting against Australia. They must be tying a lot, and so Quebec is coming out aggressive, trying to score points against Australia, doing it again. Australia trying to get something going, but her sword is pinned against the Quebecois. Now, Quebec has got her arm around Quebecois' head in a headlock, thereby putting Quebec's head inside her own shield, thereby making it difficult for Quebec to back out of range. That's in the well duh category. And Australia finally managed to extricate herself after scoring over Quebec's head. Quebec using that center grip overshield to block Australia's shots as Australia backs away from Quebec's attack, and that's the round. Meanwhile, Poland is going at Ireland, disarms Ireland. He was in the middle of a combination, however. Okay, sometimes it happens. You should have stopped, but you couldn't. I know it happens sometime. Ireland, however, showing energy and enthusiasm, giving a salute to his friends and fans as he picks up his sword. And there is Poland mixing up the pace there, sizing up his opponent, just setting it up, a spinning back fist, scoring on Ireland's head. Poland is just having his way with Ireland. And Ireland gives a little bow, a little hug, a little love. Wow. I don't want to say that Poland was showing off, but it sure looked like it. He was pulling everything out of his arsenal, trying to keep the fight exciting for himself, I'm going to guess. Trying to test out his moves, trying to see if anything could work. Because Ireland, apparently, was not giving him enough of a challenge to have to fight conservatively. And there finally appears to be a winner. Over in the ladies' list, I must admit, I missed exactly when the hand was raised. But all the results will be posted on medieval-combat.org. And between Poland and Ireland, no surprise, Poland wins. The Eastern European countries are the big powerhouses in this sport. Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and Poland. For various reasons, Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus are not at this particular World Championship, but Poland is. That is Marcin Vashken, who is... Vasquez, Marcin Vasquez. There you go. Polish ain't so tough to pronounce.
South Africa, please report.
He was the champion in Sword and Shield from last year. So he's defending his title, and he's proving what makes him a champion. So as I was saying, the Eastern Europeans are the powerhouses in this sport. Some people say that there are folks out there who are actually even paid to do this, or have corporate sponsors. By the way, if you own a corporation or a company and do think that this is the coolest, most awesome thing in the world, and you are a forward-thinking, creative company that wants to aggressively market yourself to an energetic and enthusiastic audience, you might want to consider contacting your local Armored Combat League or IMCF team and giving them a few bucks. Meanwhile, over in the ladies' list, South Africa is coming after Germany. Germany being left-handed, playing to South Africa's open side. South Africa is giving it a game fight. But again, Germany is showing greater functionality, greater skill than just about any other lady here today. South Africa is falling into the trap of letting the shield drift out of her way every time she scores a blow. Now here's France against Germany. France scoring high and then low, high and then low. Germany trying to come back here. Germany coming back with rhythm, scores low. France going high and then low again. France leading with the right foot, which gives them longer range. Now here France puts the left foot in front, which gives them better defense, as you can see. And now attacking forward, Germany answering back, both men scoring points. Germany advances as France tries to step out of range. France comes back, scores a few points. Germany does likewise. Ooh, that's a good hard shot to the face from Germany. Answered back by an offside to the head from France. France goes low and then high. Germany goes high twice. Now they're pushing core, and the referee calls the end of the round. Germany, if we recall correctly, won the bronze medal, third place last year at the IMCF World Championships in Belmonte, Spain. There's France getting a little water, taking a little thought, a little advice. Here comes South Africa against Germany again. Oh, South Africa took forever and a day to get that shot down to the leg, leaving the head wide open, and Germany took advantage. Germany is just going to do that. Here comes South Africa aggressively with overhand strikes that are easily being blocked by the round shield. An easy thing, trap to fall into. Oh, and Germany's doing a little dance. She's just a little bit confident, I think. An easy trap to fall into in this game is to think that you gotta swing your shield arm back to counterbalance yourself when you are swinging your sword forward, or to just let it happen because it just happens that way. Trouble is that leaves you open and without defense. Notice how France manages to keep his shield in front of him as he swings left and right, high and low, high and low. Germany doing well at that regard as well. There goes France scoring points. There goes Germany scoring points. This is a high-scoring match. It is going to be very interesting to see who gets the final blow, who gets the greater score of blows in, because they're coming in fast and a lot of them are hitting on both sides. France just got one to the opposite armpit. Both fighters have a good repertoire of blows. France swings, Germany jumps back just a little bit. Here you go, nice hard blow to the face, and now Germany comes back. Germany gets through France's guard. There's another nice hard blow to the face. See, those offside shots, those of you who play sports like baseball and tennis and cricket, well, maybe not tennis, those of you who play sports like baseball and cricket are only swinging on hand to hit the ball. Tennis, you gotta swing offside to the opposite side or backhand. It is an adaptation of that concept that gets your sword to the other side of the head. There was Germany and South Africa again. Yeah. So there's an adaptation of the offside concept in tennis to get your sword to the other side of the head which is a difficult one to block because the shield has to come all the way over to the other side of the head, or the sword has to be right up there guarding that side of the head. And swords make skinny shields, which means by changing the angle of your offside shot, you can either come in under the sword or over the sword. Oh, so looks like we're taking a little break here. Let's see if we're going to find out who wins the last two matches that we were just seeing: Germany versus South Africa and France versus Germany. Yep, and here it comes on the women's list: Germany against South Africa. No surprise there, but you have to admire her respect. And France against Germany. I wouldn't have called that one. I thought that France was scoring a lot against Germany, but those scorekeepers are doing the best they can here. So let's give them the respect. And France and Germany. By the way, hi there, everybody. I'm Captain Zorg. I will be your announcer for the next, 5 hours or so. Here right now, what we have going on is the singles bouts at the International Medieval Combat Federation World Championships in the Sword and Shield category. So, we have two lists of men fighting, one list of women fighting. We have seen a lot of action here. We are seeing a lot of what it takes. There is this being a very young sport, and there being some very young teams in it. We are seeing great diversity in skill levels and fitness levels here. So sometimes it gets really obvious to see who has got more skill, who has got more functionality, who has got more game, who has got more science. This type of fighting is every bit as much of a sweet science as Muhammad Ali ever said that boxing was. You've got to know when to strike, when to back away, when to cover up, when to go high, when to go low, how to use the ring. And here we go with New Zealand against Denmark in the women's list. New Zealand using her aggression and her size to push Denmark into the corner, pounding down on Denmark's head over and over again, scoring points. Denmark answers it finally by pushing her shield into New Zealand's arm, cutting down the angle and preventing her from getting a swing. But New Zealand is just using that girth, using that power to push Denmark back. And now Denmark seems to be a little uncomfortable with their helmet, but nope, they're still in the fight. New Zealand pushes her shield right into Denmark's face, blocking her vision, starts coming down on her leg, bring it down, and now Denmark sits down on the ground, and there's points for that. That counts as a takedown. Denmark is not looking healthy here, and this is the best fight New Zealand's had in the day. New Zealand, in addition to her aggression, is showing a variety of blows, and Denmark just doesn't have the answer for it. Meanwhile, in one of the men's lists, we have a battle of reds and whites. We have Japan versus Switzerland. And we just missed most of the action in that round. Apparently, Japan has fixed their visor on their helmet. I gotta admit, that is a very lovely helmet. It looks much better without the duct tape. Meanwhile, it looks like the fight between New Zealand and Denmark is over. I'm going to guess that if they have not announced the winner yet, that they will, and that New Zealand will come out ahead. Meanwhile, back over in the men's list, there's Japan. Sitting down, trying to get himself ready. That armor is heavy, not as heavy as some people may think. That's not 100, 150 pounds. It's, depending upon what your armor is and how big you are, can be between 40 and 75 or 80 pounds. So you do want to get off of your feet, off of your knees as often as possible. Get back onto your feet, respect, touching swords, and here it goes, Japan against Switzerland again. Switzerland leads with the offhand, then goes to the leg. Those two shots are about as far away as any two shots can go. Japan is trying to answer back. Switzerland gets a sword down on the shoulder, swing and a miss there as Japan backs out of range. Japan is trying to figure out a defense combining both sword and shield. Scores a couple of blows while Switzerland keeps on coming at Japan with skill. But Japan appears to be getting Switzerland's number, although Switzerland just scored a blow on Japan's hand. Japan is using a sort of swimming technique, putting some rhythm into a block and then a strike and then a block and then a strike. Meanwhile, on the women's list, we've got England against Poland. Poland again is showing greater functionality and skill than England. Aggressively coming at England with a variety of shots from a variety of angles. England not seeming to have the answer, just trying to stay alive, get out of range, try to answer back on the break. There was a score to the hip. So Poland is, if England pulled her leg back, and that prevented that blow from striking. England's pretty good on the stepping back to avoid the leg strike. Poland just proved that she is good at that too. England, however, is not showing as much functionality or skill as Poland is. Now that's the end of the round there, or are they just... Oh, they're fixing a little armor. No, I'm sorry. Are they fixing armor at the end of the round?
South Africa, please prepare for the list.
They are fixing armor on Poland. There you get a good shot of the Royal Eagle of Poland, the Krakow flag, Krakow, the capital of Poland. Meanwhile, over in the men's list, they're about to announce the winner. Here comes Poland, aggressively scoring points against England. England trying to find the answer. The answer's not in Poland's legs, but it's the best answer she got. Over in the men's list, I can see the winner is Japan. Japan has really improved over the past couple of years. They're really sending a message that they are here to fight and they are here to stay, and also that they are introducing cultural diversity into the league, ethnic diversity into the IMCF with their Japanese fighters and with their Japanese armor. There is a little bit of debate going on in the medieval armored combat, historical European martial art, etc., community about whether or not there should be Japanese armor in tournaments like this. Obviously, the IMCF is perfectly cool with it. In fact, I know one friend of the United States who is looking to enter the sport, wants to get in touch with the Japanese team to find out how and where to get that armor.
1 minute.
And meanwhile, Poland and England are still going at it, merrily whacking away at each other. England is showing courage, not backing down, but Poland is showing skill and mobility. There she goes, a shot low, a shot high, going below the shield, going above the shield, inside. England is defending as best as she can, trying to answer back. But England seems to have a limited repertoire of shots. There we go again with the trade-off. England scores. Poland is back. England scores to the leg again. That seems to be her best go-to. England's using all of her arm to score those overhand shots. Now, either England thinks that the opening against Poland is on the inside of her shield, or that an overhand shot will get ahead above the shield. But sometimes if you swing horizontally to the onside, you can slide right above the shield. The angle of the sword being horizontal is more difficult to block than when you come straight down.
30 seconds.
So I don't know if that was a deliberate choice from England or if she just does not have that shot. And yes, I am deliberately saying England and not Great Britain or the United Kingdom, because this year, with regards to the IMCF competition,
10 seconds.
each of the nations that make up the United Kingdom are eligible to have their own national teams, much like Quebec has its own national team, as opposed to representing or being a part of the Canadian team. And Poland and England coming back for a third round. Again, Poland showing the aggression, swinging more often. England fighting back as best as she can, but obviously not having as much energy or functionality as Poland. Poland blocking the aggression of England, scoring a shot to the head.
20 seconds.
The Polish lady fighter was the silver medalist, came in second place in the Sword Shield competition last year in Belmonte in Spain.
Another shot in. Time!
And that's the end of the round. We shall find out who the winner is shortly. Meanwhile, over on the men's list, Estonia is doing the best he can against South Africa, who is the